Sen. Johnson's elegant approach for state guest worker waivers will let states field test their own hunches about the effects of immigration. President Donald Trump this week enthusiastically embraced Sen. Tom Cotton's ROC, Reforming American Immigration for Strong Employment RAISE Act, saying that this would make America's immigration system more skill-based like Canada's. That is laughable, given that Canada admits twice as many immigrants as America on a per capita basis, whereas this bill would actually slash legal immigration levels in half by 2027. More Gingrich Anderson pass GOP tax cuts by Thanksgiving. Get ready for Speaker Pelosi. But if President Trump and Sen. Cotton really want to reform America's system along Canadian lines, and live up to their own party's alleged commitment to federalism, there is a viable alternative. Sen. Ron Johnson's RWI's State-Sponsored Visa Act of 2017. Introduced in the Senate last month, this bill is modeled after Canada's highly successful provincial nominee program. And like that program, it would give states the option to write their own guest worker programs. President Trump and Sen. Cotton maintain that the RAISE Act would protect American workers and wages from labor competition. But Sen. Johnson understands that the problem for many states isn't too many workers, but too few. Wisconsin's dairy farming industry, for example, has been confronting perennial worker shortages, unable to find Americans willing to do backbreaking farm work even at $13 an hour, the rough cutoff point before farms become unprofitable and fold. But the existing visa programs H-2A for agricultural workers and H-2B for seasonal off-skilled workers don't meet their needs. Hence, about 80% of the labor in Wisconsin's large dairy farms consists of immigrants, a large portion of them undocumented. And Wisconsin is hardly the only one facing a labor crunch, which is only going to get worse as the economy gathers steam and reaches full employment. The 85,000 H-1B visa quota for high-skilled foreigners, whom Sen. Cotton wants to make more expensive to hire, is less than half of what IT companies in Silicon Valley and elsewhere need. Even during the recession, this quota didn't last the whole year. Now, it gets filled within weeks of becoming available. And yet the RAISE Act, for all its talk of a skill-based system, doesn't actually raise this quota, only cuts family-based visas to tip the balance. Sen. Johnson's bill, on the other hand, acknowledges that it is hubris for Uncle Sam to try and plan the entire county's labor market, Soviet-style, and wants to give states more control. Under it, every state will get a little over 5,000 annual visa allotment to hire foreigners as it sees fit. States confronting a tight labor market can give their companies free rein to hire whomever, high-skilled, low-skilled or a mix, they want at whatever wages. Others facing a labor surplus can completely forego their quota or impose onerous wage requirements on employers hiring foreign workers. The federal government's role would be confined to conducting security and health checks on foreigners sponsored by states. The quota would be adjusted each year based on economic growth, expanding in boom years and contracting in slow ones. The visas, issued for a 3-year period on a renewable basis, would entitle their holders to any federal welfare benefits. They would be guest workers, not permanent residents or naturalized citizens. These workers would be confined to working in the sponsoring state, or states that form a compact to honor each other's visas. This would be a considerable improvement over the current system, where they are tethered to a single employer, unable to avail of better paying opportunities, which depresses overall wages in their industry. And to ensure that these workers don't skip to non-sponsoring states, they'd have to post a $4,000 bond that would be returned at the end of their stay. This may sound like a lot, especially for poor laborers, but many of them pay far more to coyotes to sneak them into the country illegally. Also, states that have more than a 3% non-compliance rate would lose 50% of their visa allotment the following year and would be required to up their bond amount by $1,000 per visa. Conversely, complying states would be rewarded with a 10% increase in the visa quota in subsequent years. Apart from allowing a far more granular matching between the skills of foreign workers and local labor needs, the big advantage of this approach is that it would potentially offer a way out of the amnesty wars, given that some states could use their quota to sponsor undocumented workers. In fact, Utah's conservative legislature asked the Obama administration in 2011 to give it permission to implement its own visa program to hire the undocumented whom Arizona's crackdown was driving out, but it never got a response. Lawmakers in 4 other states, including California, Colorado, Kansas and Michigan, have likewise lobbied the federal government for waivers to set up to their own guest worker programs to fill crucial labor holes. How doctors can stop the opioid crisis at its source: quit overprescribing, no way to treat diplomats and security, Trump's risky State Department moves, policing the USA, a look at race, justice, Mediason. Cotton's RAISE Act would foist a one-size-all approach on the American economy without regard to the diverse labor needs of states. Sen. Johnson's, on the other hand, would let states field test their own immigration hunches and serve as laboratories of democracy. States that believe immigration strains public services more than it boosts the economy can spurn them. Those that believe the opposite can welcome them. Over time, the more successful models will spread by example without Uncle Sam imposing its will on all, just as the Founding Fathers intended. Sheikha Dalmia is a senior analyst at Reason Foundation. Follow her on Twitter at Sheikha Dalmia. You can read diverse opinions from our board of contributors and other writers on the Opinion front page, on Twitter at UseItOpinion, and in our daily opinion newsletter. To respond to our column, submit a comment to letters@usatoday.com. Read or share this story https://usat.ly/2wsbdss